I'm Joel Williams, news editor at Photonics Media, and this is Photonics Spectrum Now. Earlier this week, Ayar Labs announced a $500 million funding round, which will fuel its efforts to scale its high-volume production and test capacity as it accelerates deployment of its co-packaged optics solution. This latest round brings the company's total funding to $870 million and raises its valuation to $3.75 billion. To find out more, we spoke with Ayar Labs CTO Vladimir Stojanovic and Vice President of Strategic Finance and Investor Relations, Jesse Leiter. Can you tell me a little bit more about the plans for this funding?
Well, I'll take that one.
Sure.
Look, we're very excited about this round. You may have seen the press release and related things, but we're really excited about it because it help us enter the actual production and high volume manufacturing phase, and really focus on multiple activities related to that. When you look at what that productization phase really requires is there's going to be stepping up of the whole back-end flow that we use in building our optical engines, from building up the test capability to also increasing our presence in Taiwan through our Hsinchu office. Yeah.
Excellent. Can you expand on what you meant by the, I think you said the back-end flow?
Yeah, so typically in kind of any design, including the optical engine or co-packaged optics design, there's kind of the design phase, which is called the front end. You're designing, submitting to manufacturing, and then the back end involves all the activities related to the actual production of the part, including wafer level testing, various dicing, assembly processes, into a package, optical connectorization, and all of that. And all of these steps need to be very, very clearly pipe cleaned for high volume production with the right OSAT partners, with the right machinery, with the right test recipes and assembly recipes and all of that. And we've been working very hard throughout the last year to establish that in a TSMC ecosystem, in a COOP ecosystem. And this additional new funding is helping us really increase the focus and intensity and velocity of our execution with partners in that ecosystem.
Excellent. And now, are there any sort of specific concrete plans related to the company's expansion?
We have already, as you've seen, established the office and presence in Taiwan. We are going to be, through these back-end operations, increasing our presence there. And of course, here in the U.S., our headquarters is in San Jose. That's our primary growth site. If you've been recently around, Ayar has kind of already expanded in a second building, and we're growing our staffing here in the U.S. as well. But it will also be paralleled by the growth in Taiwan in our new office.
Excellent. And now, what can you tell us about some of your ongoing partnerships, like with Sivers Semiconductors, GUC?
Yeah. Look, throughout the last year, and this momentum has only kind of increased with the new strategic partnerships added through this Series E announcement. We've been very focused throughout the last year of establishing partnerships with the ASIC services ecosystem. We see this as a key path to enabling our end customers, which are hyperscaler AI infrastructure customers. And you've seen announcements with Altchip and GUC, and now essentially MediaTek as a strategic partner joining the investment in Series E. Right, so I think these are very, and Jesse, please, feel free to add color to this. But for us, throughout the last year, we had a number of appearances at conferences and kind of glimpses of what we're developing already with both Altchip and GUC, And I think you may expect some things to come up very soon with the new partnerships. Yeah, as well.
Yeah, I would just add that, in terms of the structure of this round and the investors that came in, if you think about kind of the context of the story, the company's been raising strategic capital since 2018, where Global Foundries and Intel Capital participated. Fast forward a couple of years, we had, NVIDIA come into the round with TSMC in 2022. And then in our last round, actually in the Series D about a year ago, we had AMD and NVIDIA, Intel, and TSMC all participate. And so, as we've been building out this ecosystem and focusing on our optical engines through a TSMC flow and process, making sure that we're strategically aligned with both GPU customers, hyperscaler customers via, to Vladimir's point, the backend ASIC services. This is a way for us to kind of supply CPO, co-packaged optics, our optical engines to the entire ecosystem.
Excellent. And I was wondering what is kind of the continued endorsement of some of these big companies like AMD and NVIDIA? What does that mean in like the context of the recent news of NVIDIA investing $4 billion into Coherent and Lumentum?
Do you want to take that one, Vladimir? Or I could come up. My view would be, look, there's a lot of momentum building, right, as we focus on next generational compute and connectivity, and clearly next gen solutions are needed to scale AI productively and profitably. And so those are great leading kind of laser suppliers. They make laser die, and they are definitely folks that we've been engaged with for a long time. There's also other players as well that supply lasers to optical engines, but those are obviously listed names that the industry has been really focused on, and they've done really well, right? From a performance basis, if you look at these stocks, they've done really well year to date. I think that's really just about the trend as you navigate and see the shift that's taking place from electrical connectivity to optical connectivity, and the listed players that can actually benefit from that have clearly seen some tailwinds. And so that's kind of how we see it kind of shaping. Vladimir, I would also pass to you on kind of those two suppliers who we've worked with for a while now.
Yeah, look, if you look at from the technology standpoint, we're clearly seeing the Powerwall hitting these systems in the scale-up domain, right? You're seeing the rack power and density basically climbing up exponentially. And this essentially calls for disaggregated architectures where you need a multi-rack scale-up solution that is both energy efficient and bandwidth with high bandwidth and radix. And really, the kind of technology like Ayar Labs is building is the only answer to that solution. And of course, that technology still needs lasers, right, to power as optical sources, and we are developing those solutions as well as part of our optical I/O solution and co-packaged optics solution, but also the optical engines that need to be mated with the XPU, with the switch, and this is now largely entering the roadmaps of all the large tier one semiconductor makers and AI infrastructure companies. So I think that's why you're seeing the continued commitment and investment from our strategic partners. I think it's only gotten more serious rather than kind of and more imminent. And we're very excited about these developments.
Awesome. Now, I understand you guys have been shipping out product samples. How's the response been to that?
So we have historically, we are on our, depends how you count, the third or fourth generation of optical engines. We have first in Global Foundries and now in kind of the TSMC COUP ecosystem. We have, for every generation, we have done some number of shipments to our partners, and both to evaluate the actual optical engines, but also, and maybe even more importantly, to pipe clean the assembly and manufacturing processes, again, related to the specifics of the integration of optical engines into these compute packages, right, and advanced packaging environments, and drive programs like detachable connectors and the overall qualification of the assembly lines. Similarly, that's happening with our latest TSMC COUPE optical engines, and we're very excited about that. It's driving a lot of downstream pipeline creation for high volume manufacturing.
Excellent. And how has that process kind of informed, further development of your technology?
Well, there is I think there is a committed production, let's say, development timeline, and as such, it has various development phases, right? And so, if you look at that from the product lifecycle standpoint, there are certain gates you need to pass in terms of maturity of the whole program to be able to advance, right? And we're leveraging the existing hardware to kind of get through these steps, provide feedback on the improvement steps, and move forward.
Awesome. Now, is there anything else kind of in the pipeline that you guys are working on?
There's always a lot of stuff in the pipeline, right? We're simultaneously working on delivering a strong product insertion, as well as strengthening our product roadmap, right? So there's always kind of overlapping projects and phases being built up. I did mention that we have a whole laser module program that we are also standing up as part of the solution. But we're also working on partnerships with rack builders and system level solution providers that will enable kind of real deployment of these solutions, because ultimately a unit of compute for us here in AI, especially AI inference, is like a cluster, right? 1,000 GPU cluster. That's kind of the unit of compute, how we think about it. And being able to resolve all the issues of deployment of an CPO solution into that kind of unit of compute is really what it's all about in the end.
Yeah, and I would just add to Vladimir's point. A lot of the institutional investors that participated in this Series E round funding, we're excited to spend time with them over the next couple of weeks at some of the industry events that are taking place. And so, to Vladimir's point, in-package optical solutions are one of the focus areas. Then you have AI servers, rack designs, things like this. And so our institutional investors are excited to kind of see some of the innovations being had and how we're thinking about deployment of these optical engines for solutions for our customers over time. And so excited about kind of the next couple of weeks and looking forward to seeing a lot of the people that we've been engaged with out there, including customers and partners.
I think we're very excited about the round, not only, of course, in terms of the resources it provides to the company, but also in terms of the leadership that it provides, both on the financial partner side that have stepped in, as well as new and existing and increased commitments from strategic partners. With these types of, I would say, lead investors and quality, we're very excited about the next steps. And kind of looking towards an IPO.
Yes, I would just add to that as well. We've structured this round intentionally to have leading institutional investors that have a reputation for participating in late stage companies that are on a path to IPO, and so with different strategies, by the way, so different investment strategies across long only, sovereign wealth, crossover. And of course, to our strategic investors as well for validation as to where we are and where we're going. But, we wanted to have a diverse mix of investors that tell the market we do see a viable path to high volume production over the next 2 years. And that's with obviously multiple customers where you can unlock value for Ayar Labs into like the high volume intercepts into that 27, 28 timeframe. And having this type of group of investors, we believe, tells the market that that's kind of our objective. And we're really excited about kind of their partnership today and for tomorrow.
What is really exciting to us is that path to IPO, right? That we that is for Ayar Labs as a kind of a startup. That is kind of the goal. I would say it's an intermediate goal for a company to be able to achieve that stage and keep growing beyond that stage, right? Because frankly, this is a historic opportunity for hardware and for the type of hardware that Ayar Labs is building. We've been building toward this moment for a long time, right? Both in establishing the technology base, the development know-how, and also an understanding of where we can help our partners and our customers in scaling AI. As a workload comes at a very opportune moment. And so we think this is a multi-generational technology. And you can view IPO as kind of a keyhole moment, but it is an important moment for the growth of the company, and striking the right strategic partnerships and financial institution partnerships help us essentially make sure that we are on that continued and kind of path and approaching that milestone very quickly and with high velocity.